Hi, I'm Eugene Sakai,
And I'm Sean Rindy.
and we're from Studio S Squared Architecture, a custom residential design firm founded in 1999.
Over the decades, we've completed literally hundreds of homes all over the Bay Area and have refined our design process at every opportunity.
In fact, our process is designed to fully engage our homeowners so that they are involved and informed every step of the way.
Yeah. Our process is also set up to focus our clients' attention on the big picture items first and then work down towards the finer details.
There are literally hundreds of choices you'll have to make when designing your own custom home, and our process helps ensure that the whole undertaking moves along at a steady pace with as little added stress as possible.
In this 6-part video series, we're going to walk you step by step through our client-driven process from design through permitting and ultimately building your dream home.
Our first video is on schematic design, which is phase 1A of our process.
We are a design-first firm, and in many ways, schematic design is the most important phase of our process, as this is where the big decisions get made.
When most people think about what an architect does, it's the things that we do in schematic design that are really what come to mind.
It's when we have the most fun and do our most creative problem solving.
Our process is designed to collaboratively engage you throughout so that you can leave the heavy lifting to us while you primarily just focus on creativity and having fun.
Let's take a look at what schematic design typically looks like.
Let's do it. One of the first things we'll do behind the scenes is engage with your local jurisdiction's planning department to get a very clear understanding of all the different zoning ordinances or development limits at work on your property.
We consider ourselves to be very well versed in many Bay Area jurisdictions, but given the ever-changing, constantly evolving nature of these zoning ordinances, it's still always a good idea to reach out to our contacts at the city or county to get any and all questions we have answered, especially if we're trying to max out a property's potential or development limits.
For more on the topic of zoning regulations and development standards, click the link in the description below to access our video on this particular topic.
If we're doing a remodel and addition project for you, we'll send one of our drafters out to your home to take detailed measurements of the home so we have an accurate snapshot of the existing footprint.
There are many consultants and engineers who are going to be part of your team, and we'll touch on that later, but there are a few consultants that you want to engage early on.
We know of several pre-qualified professional firms that can help you with these tasks, and will advise you as to when you should engage with them.
Most of our projects, with very few exceptions, require a topographic survey to be completed at your property.
This topo survey is usually required by the planning department to accurately locate your property lines, any easements that may run across your property, as well as any significant or protected trees, as well as the relative location of the neighboring structures.
A topo survey is typically done by a civil engineer or a licensed surveyor, and it generally takes about 2 to 3 weeks after time of hiring that professional to get the survey completed. While this is happening, we can start architectural design, but generally it's best to wait until we have the survey in hand before we start this process.
If you're building a new home or adding a second story to an existing home, you'll need a geotechnical or soils report.
The soils report actually has very little impact on the architectural design, but it is very critical for the structural engineer's input, who will come on board later in the process.
And since we engage with structural engineers very early on in our process to help with preliminary cost estimates, more on that later, it's very important to engage with the geotechnical engineer early on. If your project is going to require either removing trees or building within the tree canopy of a protected or a heritage tree, you'll need to get an arborist report.
This report will comment on the species, the health, the value of each tree, but perhaps most importantly, provide detailed instructions for your contractor on how to protect these trees when building near them.
This report will also establish the monetary value of any tree proposed for removal so that you can replant an equivalent or sometimes up to 3 times as much value of new trees.
While this report usually has very little impact on the architectural design, the planning department often requires this report when submitting for a planning permit, and quite frankly, it's something you want to get done early, otherwise it could end up holding up your planning permit approval.
After engaging with these early consultants, it's time to put down in writing your wish list for your home.
You probably already have a really good idea in your head of what you want your home to look and feel like, but it's going to be far more useful to us if you convey that to us in writing so that we can refer to it over and over as we develop your designs.
We have several wish list template formats that clients have used over the years with us, and we'll share those with you to help get those creative juices flowing.
One of the more popular and useful wish list templates that we've used over the years and clients have employed is the must-have, want to have, nice to have format. As this name suggests, this format very clearly spells out what you want, but in a way that also informs us what is absolutely critical to the project and what is less crucial but would be great to include, if possible and practical, within your budget.
Given that trade-offs and compromises are part of the nature of architectural design, this format is quite helpful for us to design the best home we can for you, given the number of constraints on any given project.
Once you've written down as much or as few details as you want, it's time to set up a meeting to go over this list and for us to ask any questions that we might have of you based upon our initial review.
Yeah. And after this meeting, we're going to have a very clear understanding of what your goals are for the project. During this meeting, we'll also want to briefly review your house idea books for exterior style, but we'll touch more on this when we talk about 3D modeling.
Not every client comes to us knowing exactly what they want to do.
Many clients find themselves vacillating between doing a remodel addition project versus going all new, or between doing a single story or a multi-story development.
For those clients, we offer a pre-designed service in which we develop 1 or 2 schemes for each type of development in order to help you explore the trade-offs involved with each.
This exercise often helps our clients feel more confident in moving forward in a given direction. For those clients unsure about doing a new home versus remodeling their existing home, I encourage you to check out our video on the topic. Click the link in the description below.
Now that we've discussed all the pre-design work, we can jump into the really fun stuff: floor plan layouts and 3D modeling.
All right, good stuff.
Let's take a look at the floor plan portion of the schematic design phase. When we're doing a whole house remodel and addition project, we'll first send one of our team members to your home to take detailed field measurements in order to accurately capture where all of your existing walls, doors, windows, plumbing fixtures, and appliances are. This accurate snapshot is now available to us and will likely inform how the new design shapes up. For new homes, this field measurement step is usually skipped. This floor plan exercise is very much the heart of our creative process. During these initial schematic designs, we are working on translating your wish list, budget, and site constraints and opportunities into a working floor plan. Once we feel like we have some working options for you to consider, we'll set up a meeting either at our office, your home, or perhaps even a virtual meeting to go over the design and walk you through how to read these plans. During this meeting, we're going to focus your attention and feedback on 3 main space planning elements. First, are we showing the right number of spaces for you, such as a formal dining room or living room, if desired, as well as the right number of bedrooms and bathrooms, guest suites, a wine room, rec room, etc. We'll usually capture all the spaces that you've asked for in your wish list, but seeing the plan on paper may cause you to realize that you left out an important space that you'd like to add. Or perhaps conversely, there's a space shown that you really don't think you need that could be taken out to benefit some other spaces. The second thing we're going to ask you to focus on is the room sizes. Are the rooms too small, too big, or just the right size? Some clients want larger bedrooms, while other clients choose to have smaller bedrooms so that the shared public spaces, like the great room, can be larger. Occasionally we find that your stated wish list may contain too many spaces for a given house size. In those instances, we may develop a couple different plans. One that captures every space listed in the wish list, but with resultantly smaller room sizes, and perhaps another option that opts to eliminate or combine spaces in order to have more appropriately sized rooms. We may also develop an option that captures every individual space on your wish list at the larger or more appropriate room sizes, but this larger home design may exceed your stated budget. In that case, we'll clearly explain to you why your stated wish list makes us feel like we need to design a larger house than your stated budget would cover, and what that increased budget should be. Then it would be up to you to make an informed decision about the design and budget trade-offs. The third and final space planning element that we're going to focus your attention on during these initial floor plan reviews is the arrangement and adjacency of the spaces. Does the flow from room to room work for you? Do you like the way you enter the home and what you see when you open your front door? Do you want the kitchen right next to the garage or mudroom for convenient grocery drop-off? Or is it more important to you to have the kitchen situated to be bathed in early morning sunshine to go with your first cup of coffee? Are the kitchen and master bathroom cabinets and appliances laid out the way that works best for you? Do you have the master suite right next to the rest of the kids' rooms? Or do you want your master suite to be more of a master oasis, isolated from potentially noisy children? During this phase, and really all throughout the process, we're going to encourage you to give us your honest and critical feedback, and we're going to insist that you not hold back. As architects, we have developed very thick skins when it comes to design critiques, and we check our egos at the door. We want to hear your honest feedback about what you love and what you really don't like, so that we can make modifications to the plan to best suit your personal taste and preferences. No two clients are exactly alike when it comes to design, and there will often be disagreements even between partners, and it sometimes takes quite a bit of design study before we finally come to the ideal design solution that best balances the needs and desires of the clients against the constraints of the site and the budget. Our answer to this is to offer unlimited design explorations during schematic design as part of our fixed fee agreement. This opens up the opportunities for our clients to explore many different options on paper, which is relatively easy and fast to do. Trying out many different designs will help give you confidence moving forward that the design you choose to further develop is the best solution for your dream home. Front-loading this design exploration does take time, but it's better to do this now during schematic design when it's relatively easy to move lines on a page, rather than during construction when it's far more difficult to move walls that are already framed up. While we'll be soliciting your critical feedback, we won't be simply drafting up your requests and calling it done. One of the biggest benefits of hiring an architect is to take advantage of our years of focused training and design expertise. So when you make a request of us that we feel would result in a worse design, we are going to tactfully tell you so. Often we'll draft up the requested change and explain why we feel the requested change doesn't work. And we'll also try to come up with a compromise solution that will hopefully take care of the underlying issue while having less of a negative impact on the project as a whole. For example, for this project, we had always shown a huge bank of patio doors at the back for a great indoor-outdoor connection. However, at one point, these clients said they had visited a friend's house and that house had a great little games nook at the back of their house. They asked us to incorporate a similar space for their home. Right away, we knew this added space would really diminish that indoor-outdoor connection we were striving for, so we quickly mocked up what they had asked for and showed them why we felt it wasn't a good addition to their project. We also showed them an alternative solution of enlarging their great room as a whole to incorporate this extra space for a games table into the main space, while still maintaining that all-important connection to the outdoors we were originally striving for. Luckily for this project, the clients weighed the trade-offs and chose to go with our recommended solution. As we near the end of the schematic floor plan exercise, we start making simple refinements to the design rather than major organizational changes. Here you can see the changes of the master tub and shower location, as well as some really minor bits of cabinetry and door locations and such. Now that we've got the floor plan fairly well nailed down, we can move on to the next part of schematic design, the 3D model. Before we start developing the 3D model in earnest, we're going to set up a meeting with you to review images of homes that really speak to you. Most of our clients share their hows.com idea books with us, and this is a really great way to communicate your aesthetic preferences to us. These idea books are typically far more useful and effective compared to written descriptions of the style of home you'd want or other such non-visual approaches. Once we get a good sense for your preferences, for the look and feel of your home, we can move forward into 3D modeling, confident that what we'll develop is a design that you'll be proud to call home. The 3D software we use at Studio S Squared Architecture is called SketchUp. SketchUp is an amazing piece of software that is incredibly easy to use and become familiar with, even for clients who have zero experience with 3D modeling software. Best of all, there's a free version of this software available to download for both Macs and PCs, so you can review the 3D models we'll develop at your own pace. This way the models aren't only available for you to view at our office, but are available for you to review at home on your own schedule, as well as for showing off to your friends and family. We have developed a tutorial on everything you need to know about SketchUp in order to view and comment on the models in order for the software to be used as the effective communication tool that it really is. That tutorial is linked in the description below. The first thing we'll be doing in SketchUp is building your site, whether it's a relatively flat site like this, or perhaps very hilly site like these. We'll also show the existing trees as shown on your civil survey, as well as neighboring structures if applicable. Then we'll import the floor plan we've developed with you into SketchUp in order to start studying the many varied forms and shapes your home could take. We typically study a dozen or more different roof configurations and exterior material combinations that your floor plan could take before zeroing in on a design with the most potential and aesthetic value. We'll then add detail to the front of this model and have a meeting with you to review this schematic massing model. And just like with the floor plans, we're going to seek your critical feedback about what you like and don't like about the design and how you feel about the design's curb appeal. And then we'll keep iterating on the look of the home until it looks like your dream home. Then we'll develop the back and sides of the 3D model to match the style and details of the front, and we'll ask you to review and sign off on this 3D model.
The first question we're always asked by potential clients is how much they should budget in order to build their dream home.
In addition to the hundreds of homes we've designed for clients, we've also designed and built several custom homes for myself and my family, as well as Studio S Squared's new office. As such, I am very much aware of the realities of a fixed budget and constraints imposed by that budget. If you can't afford to build it, then even the best set of plans is fairly useless. For our cost estimating purposes, we use rough cost per square foot values culled from our many previous projects.
Since a vast majority of our projects go out for competitive bidding, we're constantly being updated on these costs in our very busy construction market.
With this information in hand, we're able to advise our clients on what their construction budget should be based on a number of different variables, including home size, single-story versus multi-story construction, foundation type, including basements, as well as architectural style.
If there's a disconnect between the project you're looking to build and the budget you have for such a project, we're going to let you know very early on in the process. We try to be as transparent as possible when it comes to budget, as we really have no interest in starting a project for clients who have unrealistic expectations.
And while it's certainly possible to build projects for lower budgets than what we may estimate for you, those are probably not the type of projects that you'll see in our portfolio, and you would likely end up being disappointed by the end results.
On a somewhat related note, many clients are very concerned with the resale value of their home and not wanting to invest too much money in their project if unwarranted by their neighborhood comps. Even for our clients who plan on living for the rest of their lives in the homes we've designed for them, there's still a chance that conditions may change, so there's still a need to keep resale in mind.
However, we still want to make sure that the focus of our design efforts are on your family's specific needs, as we found that most of our clients' desires tend to be universally appealing.
But when you start talking about installing a wall-to-wall saltwater aquarium or something else that's really unusual or unique, we'll definitely mention the resale aspects of such decisions.
It's very rare that a conversation like this has to come up, though, as most of our clients tend to want the same kinds of features in their homes. And while no custom home ever has universal appeal to every single home buyer, really our projects are generally very broadly appealing and usually net a significant profit to our clients when sold.
As we've hopefully stressed, we are a design-focused firm, and we feel that design is ultimately our area of expertise.
While we have a general understanding of and up-to-date cost figures on the cost of construction, we are not experts in accurate cost estimate.
But getting a check on the budget is crucial to make sure we haven't unintentionally over-designed your home.
That's why we depend on our network of contractors who are qualified and very familiar with our designs and our expectations when it comes to the quality of construction.
To close out phase 1 schematic design, we'll put together a detailed preliminary cost estimate package that clearly outlines the size of the home, the materials being used, as well as preliminary structural framing plans.
We'll send this package out to a few of our qualified contractors, and within 1 to 2 weeks, you'll get a rough ballpark number for the cost to build the home as currently designed.
Usually, this ballpark estimate comes in within your stated budget, since we've designed with your budget in mind from the get-go. But on rare occasions, the estimate comes in higher than anticipated.
If that happens, we'll set up a meeting with the contractor and you to discuss any unusual aspects of the home that may be driving the cost up inadvertently, as well as other value engineering ideas and suggestions to help bring the project back into your budget.
Typically, these changes entail removing certain high-end finishes or features, which can usually be installed later when more funds are available, and rarely involve making significant organizational changes to the home.
One of the most common questions we're asked after how much will it cost is how long will it take?
This question is rarely straightforward to answer given the complexity of the process and the number of variables outside of our direct control.
Some of these unknown variables include how many different design schemes will it take for us to give you until you're satisfied?
How long will it take to get client feedback after each iteration?
How long will the planning department take to complete their reviews?
Will any hostile neighbors or planning departments have subjective objections to the proposed project that require redesign?
Will certain aspects of the design be driven by budgetary limitations? And as such, will the cost estimating and value engineering that we have to do slow down the iterative process?
Given these and other variables, we hesitate to quote a fixed time frame for schematic design.
However, on average, you can expect schematic design to take around 8 weeks.
In our humble opinion, we feel that time spent for design exploration during schematic design is always worth any temporary delay in the overall schedule.
We often find that the optimal solution presents itself late in the process, only after much careful study and multiple iterative explorations.
Yet, for some clients, getting through this process as quickly as possible is paramount. And for those clients, we're willing to move forward as quickly as possible, although there are limits on how many of these fast-track clients we can take on at any given time.
Thank you for making it all the way through Video 1 Schematic Design of our Design Process series.
Since schematic design is typically the longest phase in our process and where most of the design work is done, this video is also pretty long.
The next videos in this series are much faster by comparison.
Make sure to watch the next video in the series, Phase 1B, Planning Permit, or you can skip to Phase 2, Design Development, if your project does not require a separate planning permit.
Thank you.
Thank you.